All right, everybody, welcome. My name is Matthew. Thank you very much for joining. We are continuing on with the suspense I left you in the last video. That was, we look at the monetary base here, $5 trillion in 2007, $30 trillion in 2022, 26.1 trillion in June 2024, the last quarterly update. What does all that mean? Okay, we looked at the change in dollar value. I'm not going to repeat it. Check the last video. But is the change in the dollar value actually reflective of the inflation, of the actual money printing, the units upon units that the Federal Reserve, the Bank of Japan, the People's Bank of China, the European Central Bank, the Bank of England, the Brazilian Central Bank, Argentine Central Bank, is it reflective of that? And of course, I left it as a somewhat rhetorical question in suspense because, of course, I'm going to tell you that it is not. It's a helpful figure to look at, the change in the dollar value, but if you want to actually look at the units upon units and find a better metric, you're going to have to look at every individual month and weight those changes, those percentage changes each month to get a true value, and that I'm going to show you here. It's in black, okay? Hard to see immediately the difference, so let's just zoom in the last couple years and look at this, okay? The red is, as I said, just the change in the USD value of the monetary base. The black is a change in units upon units. So let's notice what happens here in particular. In, say, March 2022, which was about 2 full years after COVID started, we were at $30 trillion, $30.4 trillion in monetary base value. This is the printing press. This is global money. Fell down to, by October 2022, at an annualized rate, that's October 2022 divided by October 2021, we're down 13.7% in value. But look at the native weighted trailing 12-month percentage. What do you see? Very small number. Almost flat. Negative 0.8%. About a negative 1% print. What does a negative 1% print mean? Well, that means on balance, weighted. If you take all the individual percentages of all the months, you sum the trailing 12 months to get to a weighted trailing 12-month figure, you're only at negative 0.8%, negative 1% in growth. That means that even though the value of the yen, the yuan, sterling, the euro, all of that together fell from 30 to 26 trillion in a couple months, a year-on-year fall of 13.7%, they're still printing, or they're still flat. Roughly, only down 1%. So what does that mean? It means that those currencies lost more in value than they did of actual printing more units of their individual currency. It's kind of a mind-twisty thing, but this is what I mean when I say Wittgenstein's ruler. And this is what it's hard to get to a global unified value of inflation. You have to be very particular about it. I've done it here for you, and I've done this for 6 years. This is going on the 7th year. Okay, so this is a noticeable difference. All right, you've seen the dollar got massively stronger against all global currencies on balance, compared to the amount of money that global currencies, global central banks continue to print. And yes, they have decreased it, but very minimal. In reality, they decreased their money supply globally weighted by only about 1% in October 2022, but they lost 13.7% of their value in the last year. And of course, the dollar is there too, and the dollar was decreasing. The Federal Reserve was decreasing the monetary base at this time as well. But the Federal Reserve is not the majority of this. They're, less than 20% of this value. We have euros, yen, yuan. This is global money. So keep that in mind. Let's move on. We even, right here, May 2023, globally, central banks are printing again. They increased their money stock by about 0.5%. But still, it seems like we're down year on year, 4.3%. So again, the dollar still remains weak, but they're still printing. They even go up printing more. They actually, they unify here, both dollar value and the prints somewhat, look at that, 0.2%, 0.3%. Okay, they're pretty much the same. And then even by the end of last year, less than a year ago, December 2023, central banks globally, on balance, printed nearly 3% of their currency, of their monetary base. And the US dollar value only went up a percent from the prior year. Okay, so you see how that works. And then we go on to today, still down 4%, year on year on a value proposition, on a value perspective, this global monetary base to 26.12 trillion. Central banks, they are decreasing a little bit on balance, but mostly they're flat. So let's back this up and let's look at how this looks over the last 50 plus years. One thing to say, notice the red. I'm cutting off the red from exactly the point that I zoomed in. That was May 2007. All right, let's take it off. There you go. See, I'm only measuring from here. Why? Why for this period? Well, because my data is not unified in the past. Okay, we have China started reporting here only in December 1999. As a quick aside, anybody who's fluent in Mandarin, please DM me. I'm trying to get more Chinese data in the past here. It's okay if we don't have it for now, but you know, it's just not publicly posted online in China. It may be in some PDF archived form, you know, and God forbid you'd have to go somewhere to a library to look this stuff up. But for sure, the data is out there. But if someone can read Chinese and find me the actual currency that's printed by the central bank, I'd love to hear it before 1999. The Bank of England as well. They didn't even publish the bank reserve proportion of the monetary base. Remember, monetary base is two things. One, the old notes and coins that you all understand in your wallet. Second thing is the bank reserves. That is basically the bank account of a bank at the central bank. Those two things, the monetary base. Bank of England didn't even publish this before May of 2006. So there's a noticeable change in the composition. That's why I can't in good faith do a year-on-year percentage change of the dollar value of the total here, because the composition changes of the total. But I can, if we use our other method of looking at the blended weighted balance of unit changes of the data that I have. And that's here. Okay, so, you know, again, China is here post 2000. Okay, it's not here pre 2000. That's okay. It's just not there. It's not part of the basket. I can still make a basket. I can still find the blended weighted average of how much dollars grew, Australian dollars grew, Canadian dollars grew, Swiss francs grew. As for the euro also started in 1999. I'm only looking at three currencies in the euro: the Italian lira, Deutsche Mark, and French franc. But you can still find those values. You find the USD value of each of those currencies at a particular month. What was the increase in the unit upon units? How many more Deutsche Marks did the Bundesbank print? Italian central bank, so on and so forth, and then weight that each month by the USD component of the monetary base. It's a different thing. It's a different metric, but it's going to get you as close as you can to a blended weighted average. And you can see that, you know, actually pre-1999, things are more or less on the same level. Post-2000, things get crazy. Why did they get crazy here in 2000? Okay, remember, I did say China comes in actually at this month, December 1999, but that's not the increase here. You can't do an increase from nothing. You'd get an error, right? Because there was no Chinese data before. That's not included in December 1999 trailing 12-month rate. What this is Y2K. Okay, so this is all currencies, people around the world, in Europe, in Asia, in the US, in Australia, in South America, they were worried about the Y2K bugs. So more cash was printed year on year than ever before, actually, in the modern era. 28.7%. That's Y2K. That's why this pops. Then we have, of course, the .com crash. We have 9/11. Money supply is shrank down here quickly, but then Alan Greenspan, the maestro, the New York Times said he increases the monetary base, and others do as well. Pretty much back to normal levels, almost even record levels a little bit here in March 2002, 16.9% increase in monetary base year on year. We get to global financial crisis, see things are even crazier. Okay, here's QE1. 2 is kind of here. Eurozone, actually, it's more here. Let's say Eurozone crisis. It is here. QE2, and then QE3 is less so. It's starting here, moving up to 2014. They try to normalize here. Basically, this was a record in itself. Look at how flat this is. Central banks from basically December 2018 to COVID did not print at all. They were flat. They were trying to just normalize, as that word they like to use. They're normalizing their balance sheets, not buying any more bonds, not printing any more money, trying to get back to normal. That didn't last long. Even pre-COVID, remember we had this repo spike in the repo market. That's another story, but it shows you things were not normal before COVID. And then, of course, COVID they exploded. The money supply exploded to record levels it had never exploded to before, both in pure dollar terms, which is here, but also in printed terms, native unit upon unit, trailing 12 month. We get to 32.3% by March 2021 year on year. 32.3%. Let's zoom in. I think we might have hit it. Yeah, 33.5% we did in June 2009. 33.5%. So, you know, this was 2008 levels. Massive increase in the money supply. And now, again, they're trying to normalize. But look, again, this is the key point. Even though monetary base is down $4 trillion in value over the last couple of years, they're still printing or flat. Slightly printing, slightly flat, some months negative. Basically, they're flat. Again, what that tells you is that central banks still want to enjoy their printing press, enjoy their money monopoly, print euros, print yen, print British pound sterling. They're printing, or maybe they're backing off a little bit, keeping it flat. So the year-on-year growth is flat, maybe slightly negative some months, positive other months on balance globally. But the value of those currencies has fallen massively against the dollar. That's where you get this red percentage. It's fallen massively. And that's where the discrepancy is. So to summarize, both are fine to look at as far as a measurement of inflation, deflation, but the red is not really correct. The red is just a change in value of the monetary base. This is Wittgenstein's rule. I got 50 currencies. So the red is just a change, as it says, in the USD value. It's not really correct. All right, the real native weighted change is the correct one. That's the black. Okay, and I can show you the cumulative value here, which I haven't shown you yet, I believe. It's 12.7%. Okay, so we can look all the way back 50 plus years of all these mostly up, mostly months where they're printing, but interestingly, you know, even pre and post COVID, some months where they do decrease on balance, they decrease the monetary base. All central banks in the world globally weighted globally. Still, if you look at the last 50 years of data, we can get to one number. People like to get that. That's that black line, 12.7%. That's the cumulative weighted compound annual growth of the monetary base over the last 50 plus years. Doesn't matter, I don't have China data here for this. It's just not part of the basket. It's not part of the weighting. That's okay. Again, help me out if you can get me Chinese central bank data before this. That would be helpful. It's certainly not going to bring this number down. It's going to stay the same or go up. Taking a moment to remind you that this show is brought to you by Trezor, home of the original Bitcoin hardware wallet. For over 10 years now, Trezor means business in Bitcoin security and functionality. When using their wallet software Trezor Suite to connect to the Bitcoin network, you're automatically connected via Tor, protecting your identity and giving you full control of your coins in a fully open source manner, both on the software level and on the hardware level. So head on over to Trezor.io to grab your brand new Trezor Safe 5 with a secure element, as well as a ton of available accessories to back up your keys and keep your coins safe. And that's it. That's the global monetary base. This is the entity that is the core of the financial system. Not treasuries, not bonds. This is the core of the money, the global monetary base. And they print at a rate of 12.7% per year. As of the trailing 12 months, they're about flat, negative 0.3%. The USD value of said monetary base has fallen about 4%. Okay, that means, you know, currencies have fallen in value more relative to what they are printing. All right. And just to close it off, I'll give you a couple more numbers, a lot of numbers here. But if you looked at just these last 18 years, as I showed you from 2007, 2008, 17, 18 years, let's take off the cumulative number. Right. We have ups and downs, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, but still we can weight both of these numbers. This one would give you a weighted average of 11% growth. 11% growth over the last 17, 18 years. Okay. So that means just the weighted average value of the monetary base that's going up and down, right? In USD terms, this is sort of a final number of value, still goes up at 11% per year, okay, even though it's going down now. And if we want to look at the real precise native month by month, turning it into an annualized compound annual growth rate of all the different units, euros, yen, yuan, pound sterling, how much of those percentages each month, and then weight those percentages in a basket, that is higher. Okay, so they actually print more than the USD value change reflects. The USD value change is 11% on average per year. This number, the black, the native weighted change of the monetary base, 13.4%. That's over the last 18 years, okay? So whether you look at 11% USD value, 13.4% native change, those are both last 20-year figures, or the cumulative all-time change of 12.7% for the monetary base, this is the printing press. No matter what they tell you, no matter what you read about in Bloomberg, this is the printing press. This is how much central banks print on balance, on average, weighted cumulatively, trailing 12 months, 12.7%, and right now they are flat. So that is the Q2 2024 update number 25. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of this in show notes. Take care.